Hello everyone, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today we'll continue the SQL query application. We will focus today on the offset on map application inside the SQL query. So we have two mini applications, let's say, inside the SQL query, which is offset on map and design on map. We will cover the offset on map today, and the next video will be the last video. We will cover the design on map also. All this topic. So for the design, the offset on map, let's do something first. First, we can run any query. For example, we can run line 45. Okay, yes. Okay, this line we will work on it. We will go to the map, offset and map. Offset and map and design on map is similar applications that share the same interface. Also, they share same tools, but the difference only is the tools on the right here. But they share the same layer builder. They share same export tools also, and everything is the same. The only difference is the tools here. Okay. Also, you can move from offset on map to the design on map from this switch, and you can back. So this is the design on map, and this is the offset on map. It's very similar. What I will do now, first, I will retrieve the line from our query that we have run it. So I will go to SQL query. I run this query, so I will say add selected. First of all, this is not editable layer, so I cannot do any movement or editing on this layer. So what I will do is make editable. So I will copy this layer to an editable layer. The good things in this application is that everything you do it is just temporary layer, unless you save it. You save layer file as a GeoJSON file, it will be saved. But other things, all these layers will be temporary, so you don't have many layers saved in your computer. If you don't want to retrieve layer from the SQL query, you can import it from CSV or SPS file using the ASCII importer tool. This one, you can configure the field, you can use SPS or CSV. Also, you can add layer from shapefile, KML, and JSON file. All this you can do it from, you can make it editable layer, and you can work on it. Today we will use this query line. Okay, let's say like this. The first tool in the offset on map is the interactive offset. The interactive offset tool has different methods. It has the smooth offset, the conditional offset, deflection angle offset, and compress offset. The smooth offset will use an influence parameter that make the offset smooth or sharp. Also, it will ask for the how many points, like you want to, for example, I will make measurement. So this is how the tool is work. Like you just select one point and move the line, and the offset, smooth offset, will move. If I want to remove this edit, I will discard the edit. I will make the influence very high, for example 12. This make the smooth is more smoother. Okay. The other method I can use is the conditional offset. The conditional offset use your steps. For example, if you want to make offset each 25 meters, so 25, 50, 75, And the flat point, center flat point, we usually use 3, so the offset will not be sharp like this, it will be has 3 flat points. I will select the center point and move, and you can see it's make the movement step movement, and also we have here 3 points has the maximum offset distance. Other method is the deflection angle. It use the deflection angle, so sometimes in 2D lines we need to make offset with 10 degree, for example, to avoid an obstacle. So I will use 10 degree and I will write, so this is 10 degree, you can see. Also you have the parameter to use the padding point of the or the flat point. The last method is the compressed offset. This is very useful method. Sometimes in some project you need to compress. Here in this project I have between each 2 points 60 meters, but I can dense the point inside 15, like each 15 meter I put point. So for example, if this is a farm and I want to move these points here, so I can just make this to this, and what I will see, I will have the points compressed, and also I will keep the same sequence. So 4001, 4005, 9, 13, it keep the same sequence. So this is the first offset method, is the interactive offset method. Has many options to work with. The second one is the auto offset by template. In this method you need to create a template first. Okay, so let's create a template for offset. We already have one that use the cross line and inline. So first is 25 to minus 25, 50 minus 50. You can create a template using this parameter, and you click add, and you have this template. If you already saved one template on the desktop, for example, you can select it and use it. The azimuth for offset, we always have two methods, the calculate and the auto manual azimuth. The calculate azimuth is very useful, so you don't need to calculate any azimuth. If you want to use the manual azimuth, then you can measure it using this tool. For example, from this point to this point, you get the decimal degree or the degree millisecond, whatever you use, you can use it here, no problem. So first I will draw one obstacle. For example, let's say let's add layer first. I will draw obstacle here. For example, if I have something like this, let's say our obstacle is like this. If I want to add a clearance distance, I can make 5 meters, for example, a clearance distance. Also, I can add a tolerance, so the point is tolerated with, for example, 1 meter. So if 25 meters, but I need for offset 26, it will use 26 better than offset by 50. Pin digits fallback is 4. So I will take this one, the obstacle layer already taken by the tool. I will make auto offset. So if you can see, it offset this point to the left, offset this point to this point, keep original. Why? Because in the template I add the maximum offset is 100 and minus 100. So maybe the offset here need more than 100 meter to offset. So this point didn't offset. Sorry, we should. So this is the line direction. So we couldn't reach. Yeah, it's 105 meters. If you add another, maybe you can add another 1, 0, and 125, for example. I will move it up. Now if I say run auto offset, all point has been shifted. Okay, so this is the second offset method. The third offset method is the auto offset free cross line. What this tool will do will offset the points to the minimum cross line distance, but without a conditional offset, like without following a specific rule, for example 25, 50. No, it will just move the point outside the obstacle. So let's say maximum here is 150. Clearance also 5 meters is enough. Bin digits 4 is the same. Use so it's just move the points outside the obstacle with a clearance distance 5 meters, but perpendicular to the line using the calculated azimuth. This is very useful tool. In many projects we can use this tool. The last thing we can work on it is the grid. It is not the last thing, sorry. We can make a grid by, for example, I want to make a grid with the spacing 60 meters. I will take the rotation from here, take the origin, then I take the rotation. I can change the color so it's more clear. Also, I can change the thickness. So this grid is very useful. What I will use it, I will use the move. The optional grid snap is the intersection and each intersection or each only. Let's say I want the intersection only, so any point I select sorry, I need to activate this. Any point I select, it will snap only to the intersection grid. If I choose intersection and each, so the point will snap to the each and intersection, as you can move the point whenever you want. But I will keep the perpendicular direction. This is very useful tool, I think. Okay. Also, we have another method is the offset. I will hide the grid. The other method is offset to line. For example, I have this line, this road, and I want to, actually it's a river, or there is a road. I want to move the point along this road. So what first I will do, I will draw a line. For example, this is our road. Let's make it a bit clear. And I want to move this point to the line. So I will use the selection method first, is better. Let's say I will use these points. I will limit the offset to the current selection. I will use the drawing one line. Maximum surge distance, I will keep it 500 azimuth is calculated. So you see, it's very, very, very smooth, very easy to work with, and very useful. The other tool we have is the generate secondary layer. Generate secondary layer, I will remove selection from this. Is useful, for example, if you have a 2D line like this. For example, this 2D line has start with this point, and I want to build the receiver layer for this line. So I will specify some let's say some rules or parameters. Then I will generate a secondary layer for the receiver point. What the tool will ask is the bin digits and the starting type. Sometimes we start before the source point and sometimes we start after the source point. I will make this source point. If I can check the descriptor, it has a descriptor S. Okay, so I will start before the source point and I will use the next point number. So for example, if this point is 1001, the first receiver point will be here also 1001. Point density is how many points you want to add. For example, if density is 0, I will make point here, and between each source point I will make 1 point layer. But if I have density 1, then between each 2 source point I will have 2 receiver point. If density is 2, I will have 3, and like this. Then I will sometimes we offset the receiver cross line from the source point or the vice versa. And yeah, that's what I need. I will generate the secondary layer. So I got another layer with descriptor R. Here the descriptor take auto R, but you can use anything you write. But because the main layer has descriptor S, so it give you auto descriptor R. So I got a secondary layer for the receiver point, and I can also export it. The last method is the COG. For example, if I have I will build another layer. Maybe this tool we can back to it after the design tool, or we can use it. I will build another layer. Maybe I have it already. Yes, pattern. I don't think I have it. Maybe this. Yeah, this has vibrator pattern. So each point has a different points, like 5 points. So I will make it editable. I don't have the numbering for this point. Okay, what I can make is okay, we can make this COG. What the COG in short, let's say in short what the COG tool will do. It will calculate the center of gravity for points that have the same number. So if you have these points, for example, all have the same station number, it will calculate the center of gravity location for these points. Okay, this is, so I need what I need from this tool. I need the layer and survey reference layer if I want to compare it, and the output layer, and we'll calculate the COG. It's very easy. I think by this we cover, before we end our lesson, how we export what we have done. For example, we did some offset and we want to export the result. Okay, for example, we did some offset, we save it, and we want to export the result. we can do many things. First, we can export it to CSV. We have a full CSV and GNSS CSV. The GNSS CSV will only export the station value, easting, northing, height descriptor, so you can use it directly in GNSS equipment. The other thing we can export is as shapefile. Also, we can export as KML file. And the more interesting thing is that we can export it to our preplot database. So I can from here I can export to the preplot for the selected database in our project. That's what I wanted to explain to you in this video. I think we covered most of the important things in the offset on map. Next video will cover the design on map. Thank you so much.